Hello there guys, and welcome to Mad Doc Minis, and welcome back to the airing cupboard. So this video is all about negative commentary on YouTube from the perspective of the content creator. That's me, I'm a star. Not really. The reason I'm doing this is I kind of reached a milestone in my own YouTube channel recently. I crossed the 100 videos mark. This is in fact 101, this video. That's kind of like a bit mind-blowing to me. I mean, I know that's not many by a lot of people's standards, but it feels like a lot of videos, and it kind of crept up on me. And I thought maybe I could offer something back to people who are maybe on the fence about coming onto YouTube. And I thought the negative comments side of things was something that I could offer some insight to. I mean, I'm a small channel. I mean, I've got just coming up to 5,000 subscribers. I'm about 4,900 at the time of making this. And I mean, I'm quite new to YouTube. I've been on here for around about 2.5 years so far, if you go back to the first video that I released. So I'm not really qualified really to kind of give advice on how to be a successful YouTube star. That's not really what I'm aiming at here. Although I should stress that I'm very grateful for the success that I have had. I mean, you know, I'm nearly at 5,000 subs. That is amazing, and I couldn't have comprehended that when I first started YouTube. I wouldn't even thought that was possible for someone like me, to be honest. So I must say a thank you for all the support, guys. It really does mean a lot. But what I'm driving at is that I know I'm small, so there's certain things I can't really provide sensible advice on, but I think I can offer some insight on negative commentary and how to deal with it. Excuse me. So negative commentary, I really hate the idea that it can be a barrier. The worry of getting negative feedback can be a barrier for people getting involved in YouTube. If there's someone out there who wants to share what they're doing with their Warhammer and they're worried about the feedback, they might be worried about being ridiculed or laughed at, I just think that's so sad, and I really hate that idea. That there's horrible people out there, trolls, that will just shut people down before they even really get involved with stuff. And I want to just offer some insight and hopefully some reassurance. I'm not going to pull any punches on it. I'm going to tell you as it is, at least from my experience. But I hope there is a positive undertone to this that you can take away. And if one person out there watching this takes the plunge as a result of watching this video, I will be over the moon. That would be great. And please let me know if you are that person. Email me. My email's on the channel description. And you'll definitely get a sub out of me, because I want to encourage more people to do this, because it is actually quite fun. That's why I do it. So yeah, the barrier thing is the thing that bugs me, and I wanted to try and stop that as much as I can. So how do I deal with negative comments? Well, how I deal with them now is to be very positive. So if someone's been quite rude, and that does happen, rude or bad comments happen from day one. Okay, they happen immediately. You'll get rude stuff coming through, people trying to snipe at you from the sidelines. It happens. It's normally a very small percentage of all the feedback you'll get. It certainly is in my case, very small percentage, overwhelmingly positive, overwhelmingly supportive from the YouTube Warhammer community. So don't to think it's bigger than it is, because it's not. It might feel it's bigger than it is in this video because that's what I'm talking about, but it really isn't. But I think it's good to understand probably how you can deal with it. So what I do is I'm nice and I'm friendly. So if I get a nasty comment, I will say something like, oh, sorry it wasn't for you, but I really appreciate you watching. Thanks very much, or something like that. Quite short, very positive, very polite. I will also make sure to like and heart their comment. That sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? But I always do that, negative or positive, because it lets the person know quite clearly that I've read their comment, and I want them to know that. And I just put something nice and polite, like I said, and it shuts it down. It diffuses the situation completely, guys. It's like having a grenade of confusion that you lob at their face, and they're like, oh, they don't know what to do with it when you do that. And there's something quite satisfying about that, if I'm honest. And it is the best way to deal with it, in my view. And that's what I do now. Earlier on in my YouTube career, I was probably a bit defensive when I used to get negative commentary. I was never nasty or angry back, but I sometimes was a bit defensive, and it's no good. It just pours fuel on the fire, and they will delight in that. Don't give them the satisfaction. Just be nice and shut it down that way. Much, much better, honestly. It goes against the grain with a lot of us, but it's a much better way of dealing with it. And I mean, there are other tactics. I like to respond and let them know that I've read it. That's my way of kind of dealing with it. But you can You can ignore the comments completely. That's a very valid approach, and plenty of YouTubers do that. If they get a horrible comment, they'll just ignore it. Some people remove the comments as well from the kind of stuff underneath the video. I wouldn't be inclined to do that really myself. I mean, and obviously you can deactivate comments on your videos as well, which is generally not a good idea, because you're kind of like closing down your interaction with your viewers and your fans. It kind of hurts your channel to do that. So I wouldn't advocate that, but there are other ways of dealing with it if you wish. For my own part, I just like to respond and let them know that I've read it, and it just gives me some satisfaction, because I think it's quite irritating for the person to let them know you're kind of unfazed by it, which is something else I want to talk about. If someone says to you, oh, don't worry about it, or try not to care that someone's produced a negative comment, it's stupid advice. If anyone tells you I don't care if I get negative comments, I genuinely believe that is a lie. It's an untruth. We all care. If someone says something negative to you about some work that you've done on YouTube or anywhere else, it bothers you. You do care. One does care, because we're human beings, right? And I think it's entirely normal. I think you'd have to be abnormal, genuinely not to care. Like, you have to have some sort of like psychopathy or something, like you wouldn't be able to process it. So I don't agree with that kind of advice, like, oh, try not to care, or I don't care. You know, I think that's stupid. But there's a difference between not caring and being unfazed by something. Being unfazed by something doesn't mean you don't care, but it means that you take it on board, you react calmly, and carry on basically despite what they might say. So it's kind of like a polite FU, right? And I think that is a really effective way of dealing with it. Now, there are some other reasons why you should be polite and not get angry. Well, one, getting angry, if you get angry and are abusive back, that can be damaging to your channel and to you. And, you know, you can get reported, you could have videos taken down, which is not going to help you. They're going to love it if that happens, the horrible people who put these comments up. So don't give them that satisfaction. Stay calm, stay nice. But also, communication can break down, especially in typed form. So if we're typing back and forth, if someone's trying to offer some constructive feedback, that can sometimes come across a lot harsher than it's intended in typed format. So by dealing with it the way I said, like saying, oh, you know, sorry you didn't like it, blah, blah, sometimes you'll get a bounce back saying, oh, hey, mate, no, I didn't mean it like that. I just was offering some, and then you can clear it up. Do you know what I mean? It's clear. You haven't kind of damaged your reputation and overreacted to something that wasn't intended. So it's definitely the way to go. Also, I have no evidence to back this up with. It's really anecdotal, but Warhammer as a hobby, I think it tends to attract a higher proportion than normal of people who may be neurodivergent. So I'm talking about things like autism. And remember, people with autism don't communicate in the same way. They find it difficult to, you know, maybe stick to social norms with communication. So once again, if you're nice and polite about things, you're not opening yourself up for further problems. And I'm not being derogatory, by the way, to autism as a condition, or people with autism. My wife has autism, so I live with it every day. I know what it's all about, and I know the challenges with the communication. So that's another reason why you should be careful and not rear up. It really, really isn't worth it, okay? Now, I suppose, interestingly, I've kind of like reflected to myself on this. I don't understand why people do it. It's kind of a form of bullying, and I mean, there are textbooks on the subject. You could probably learn in a lot of detail why people become this way and why they decide to bully. I have no intention of learning more about it. I despise them. I hate bullies, and I've got no reservations about saying that to you at all, none. And I find it really weird that people do it. And on YouTube, giving negative comments, I've never done it. I have never given a thumbs down. I have never put a negative comment or a derogatory comment or anything like that on YouTube for someone's video. I may not like a video, but I just, you know, close the video down, go on to the next thing. You know, I mean, you could offer constructive criticism if you want to try and help the person, but I wouldn't even be inclined to do that, if I'm honest with you. But that's just me. But I've never been negative. I really don't understand why people would do that. And I know the thumbs down thing, I think, could help the algorithm decide what videos you might like. And I know there's a bit of stuff going on there, but I still wouldn't give a video a thumbs down, I'm afraid. It's just not me. I just know now, I mean, even before I was on YouTube, I could appreciate that the videos take a lot of work for people to do. So I just think it's a bit unkind, really. So I wouldn't be inclined to do it. Yeah, so there you go. But I think you've got to tell yourself the people who do it, they're the people who are nasty, you know, rude. I mean, that end of the, I mean, there's a big spectrum of negative commentary, isn't there? There's kind of constructive criticism at one end, and then there's just outright rude and personal and unpleasant at the other. That's the stuff I'm really talking about here. And the people who do that, they're just dicks, aren't they, really? They're assholes, you know, they just are. And I think you just got to tell yourself that while you're being nice, while you're doing your reply, and just try not to give them the satisfaction of kind of like interfering with your journey, basically. Yes, you're going to be a bit bothered by it. That's normal, but don't be fazed by it. There's a difference. I really hope that has been illuminating and useful. It's not intended to be negative. It's the opposite. I want you to try and understand that it happens. It's a bit rubbish, but you can cultivate a resilience to it, and you don't have to let it be a barrier to doing something that could be lots of fun for you and give you lots of enjoyment. Don't let them win before you even get to the starting point. You know, it's silly. And you know, I really hope that has given you some sense of you know, insight into what it's actually like. Now, I'm going to finish up the video there, guys. Thank you for listening to my ramble. I do appreciate it, and as always, I appreciate the support. But if you have any thoughts on it, I'd really like to hear in the comments what people think about this subject, about negative comments and people being rude. I'd love to get a bit of a conversation going, so please drop it in the comments below if you've got any of your own thoughts or experiences that you want to share. And just, yeah, maybe if you think I'm wrong about certain aspects, I don't mind hearing about that. Just keep it nice. Yeah. But no, I think yeah, that's plenty for today. And if you made it to the end of the video, well done, and I will catch you in a future one soon. Take care, guys. Cheers.